and welcome. And nice to have you with us on a Tuesday afternoon, the 23rd day of January, 2018. Hi, everybody. Yours truly, Christopher Russo. Broadcast day begins as we chat to you about what's going on in the world of sports on a great Sirius XM 82. Eddie Erickson and Colin Schmeling. Eddie for at least temporarily as we chat to you about what's going on here as far as the world of sports is concerned. We put together some shows at the Super Bowl that took a damaging hit with Nadal out of there. Eddie was counting on me getting into the tennis for 2.5 hours so he had nothing to do and wait for his cocktail at 6 o'clock. And now he realizes in Minnesota that show on Monday could be tricky. And Eddie was looking for a nice, easy cakewalk. Eddie is not a big time as it is, and now he's going to have to work a little harder. We shall see. We got a lot to do today. Well, mostly contests. We're going to get that started shortly. But we'll do a couple little things here just to put you on the map, and then we'll get right to it as far as contests is concerned in 2018. There really isn't a whole heck of a lot to go with from Monday night as far as the sports world is concerned. I mean, the Cavs have a team meeting. They head to San Antonio. They've been awful. Who knows? We keep an eye on that. The Patriots, 12 stitches for Brady in his thumb. We knew that. Maybe we didn't know the amount. We see how the Patriots and Eagles handle it. New England will wear the white jerseys in Minnesota when we get ready for Super Bowl 52 a week from Sunday in Minneapolis. A lot of bad weather in Minnesota. They will be flat as a pancake in that city for about 10, 12 days. And then when Eric and Long Island and the rest of them float in the weekend of February 2nd and 3rd to be a little life. Not much until, but we'll see. Super Bowl 52, Pats and the Eagles. 5.5, 6, somewhere along those lines are where your numbers are. Did you see that? I guess a lot of people felt the whistle should not have been blown on the Miles Jack turnover, which would have been 27-10 Jacksonville with 8-9 minutes to go. Little does that do anything for my poor son, 15-year-old Colin Russo, who is still crushed and says, quote-unquote, unmotivated. All right, there you go. That is number 2 today. We can get into that in the course of our afternoon. Number 3 today, Breaking Bad's good, Season 3, Episode 3. Details on that as we move it along on this show. Obviously, I got burned with it. Nadal out of there. As far as the Australian Open is concerned, he's got a hip issue, a right leg issue, limping around. Started the 5th set with Cilic, who's very dangerous. 2 sets apiece. Nadal just about ready to get settled in at 6:45 this morning. I saw the latter half of the 4th set. I was getting ready for the top half of the 5th set. Cilic served easy. Nadal got broke in game number 2, and then he went to the chair and retired. He was not pleased afterwards. He was moaning and groaning about really the length of the ATP season, which can be controlled by the individual player, and all the hard court surfaces that frequent tournaments now around the globe. And obviously it takes a lot out of your body, and he's 100% right. Somehow, some way, Federer never gets hurt. That's the amazing thing. Federer plays about the same as half these guys, and he's always out there fresh as a daisy. And now that is I think it may have been his tournament to win anyway, and now specifically it's his tournament to win on the men's side. Cilic will play Kyle Edmund, a surprise 4-set winner over Dimitrov, another guy who's got a lot of ability, but never, ever, like Zverev, the German kid, never does anything in a big match. Never. I know he won the ATP this year. Who cares? Loses in 4 sets. He's knocked out of there in the quarterfinals. And Cilic will play Edmund. And on the other side, the quarters are tonight with Federer against Berdych, and Madison Keys tonight, too, against Kerber, which is the first match of the evening, so you go there. Steve Torrey tonight will be all over Trey Moore and Oklahoma. He can't get enough of college basketball. Tonight, of course, Oklahoma will host Kansas, and for the 6 diehards out there who are looking forward to the game in Norman, that game tonight, of course, is somewhere to be found on the ESPN network, and the way we have it as far as that is concerned. A-Rod has been announced as the new analyst for ESPN with the departure of Aaron Boone. I don't think A-Rod has been as good as everybody else has advertised. I was not in love with him last year when I heard a couple of ball games he did with Joe Buck. To me, he was a little nervous. I didn't think he did a great job, but whatever the reason, he has continued with the rehab of his career and his life, and I think it's a good move by ESPN, don't get me wrong. I just think that he might be a little overrated, but we will see. I think he's maybe a little better in the studio, but listen, a lot to learn. Who knows? He's going to be able to stay with Fox. A-Rod is now the main analyst with ESPN. Matt Vasgersian, who's a very good broadcaster and an excellent guy, is the play-by-play guy on Sunday night. Jessica Mendoza stays as well. So that's the new trio there on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. It's Vasgersian, Mendoza, and A-Rod. That's the big hire is A-Rod. No Boog Shambi. He did not get the job after Shulman left. They went somewhere else out on they went out on a limb a little bit. There's a relationship that's been brewing between MLB and ESPN, MLB Network and ESPN for a long time. And today, Vasgersian, who does that morning show over on MLB, won't be able to do it now with his baseball, which, he's a good play-by-play guy. He'll get a playoff game. He'll get other playoff games on MLB Network, so good for him. That's a good hire, good move, I think, A-Rod. I'm still not as sold as everybody else is, but we'll wait and see. Bob Costas is not doing the pregame with the NFL. Remember, Tirico is going to be in Seoul or in Korea, which is the worst assignment in the world for an Olympics and an Olympiad that nobody cares about, with no hockey and no Russian Olympics. I mean, there's going to be Russian athletes, but not under the umbrella of the nation. So Tirico's unavailable. So he is, the Olympics start next Friday, so he is there. And everybody thought Costas would be the NBC host for their pregame on Sunday at the Super Bowl in Minnesota, but they decided, whether it was because Bob's taking some shots at the NFL with concussions, I don't know if that had a little something to do with it. The NFL doesn't want Bob up there. I don't know if NBC would have agreed to allow NFL to, basically puff their chest out and tell who they should put on the air. I can't answer that. NBC is in the negotiation for the Thursday night package, which will stay because there's too much money to be made. So the players who are moaning and groaning about Thursday night, they can moan and groan until the bank, to the banks open up, because they're going to resume Thursday night football with all sorts of networks bidding on it, including Fox now with CBS and NBC. But Bob is not going to do the Sunday night. Liam McHugh and Dan Patrick will be the hosts. McHugh's been there for a while at NBC. He's done a lot of hockey. We'll see how much presence he has on the big stage. Costas normally would have done that. I don't think Bob. I think it could have been a little combination of a lot of things. I don't think Bob cares. Bob doesn't love the cold weather. I don't think Bob necessarily was looking forward to a week in Minneapolis, breaking down, the cheerleading cruise NBC at 3 o'clock. I think the NFL on Park Avenue probably was happy that maybe they didn't bring Bob in for that, based on the idea that Bob at that symposium this year went on and on about why kids should play football. I mean, I shouldn't play football, and he was not wrong. And I think the NBC said, you know what, let's let McHugh and Patrick, who've been working together all year, let them handle this. Maybe Bob, didn't want to step on their toes and big time them. Who knows? I don't think Costas is that. Bob doesn't care. I mean, when you've had the career he has, does he want to spend a week in Minneapolis breaking down superfluous pregame opportunities at 3:30 on a Sunday afternoon? That's a lot of work for, not a ton of eyeballs with a lot of fluff. So I don't think it bothers Bob too much. NBC needs a guy in there for 4 hours. They're going to go with the two-guy set. We'll see how that moves along. So no Costas. I don't know how much influence the NFL had. And even if they had a lot, I don't think Bob wants to do it anyway. So I don't think it was a scenario where NBC wanted Costas to do it and the NFL said no, and the NFL won. I think the NFL probably is happy he's not involved. NBC says, I don't think Costas wants to do it that much anyway. Why make such a big stink? So I don't think it came to a head between the two of them. And Jason Kidd fired by Milwaukee. We didn't really get into that yesterday. He, of course, the Buck coach, they sort of underachieved in this year. I was surprised. I guess they had lost 4 of their last 5. They've been erratic. They're tied for the 8th seed. I mean, they I was surprised. I know the Freak thought that was upset that he got fired. They got a new arena for next year. He is signed through 2020 and 21. They're going to have an interim in there. Jay Chuno has been with Kid for a long time. We see which direction they go in. I was a bit surprised that the Bucks decided to go in this direction. So that is essentially what you need to know as far as the world of sports is concerned. Now, what you also need to know is our contest. Last night we played for 2 hours. We had 9,000 people try to get on in the second hour yesterday. So much for the fact that the refugees have joined in. 9,000. That's a lot of people. Eddie got a little overwhelmed answering the calls. We'll see if he can get a little better here on it today. But from a standpoint of where we stand, 2 hours contest, no winners. We got to number 3 or 4 times. There is the Mary Tyler Moore segment, as you know. We will see if we can find a winner today. We're here until 7 in the East, and we'll see where we stand here at the end of the afternoon, early evening, and whether we can find a winner. We'll see if we want to play it all day, too, see if the marquee gets a little annoyed, and when he gets annoyed, he might decide to bail out and take some Nadal calls. We'll have to wait and see on that. But from right now, we will play the contest here momentarily and get it going. Remember, we have not really had a contestant get to number 4. The first sound cue. I'll come back and play that after the break just to get you set up. So the contest will begin. You know how it works. Let's get ourselves going. Join in. Colin Schmeling and Bill Zimmerman will run it. Eddie will learn. We will continue as we move it along on a busy program here on Mad Dog Unleashed.